You already know what type of time we on. It's the Barbershop. It's your boy G Bush back again with another episode. Today, we talk about all things Cleveland Browns training camp coming up with the veterans. And we got to put the final closing remarks on the Cleveland Cavaliers regular season. I got tired of hearing all of the excuses. So what we're going to do is we got to put together a presentation for you guys today. Figure out what we're going to do with the Cavs. But first and foremost, Shadeur Sanders, after we did a little something called a podcast and told the truth last week, people is coming around. We're going to get into that all right now on this episode of The Barbershop.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
Welcome on into the Barbershop. I am your host, G Bush, ready to go. I got the Clippers together. I hope you guys, I can start your weekend off good. Coming up, we got a great show planned for you guys. We'll talk about all things Cleveland sports like you always, what you would expect, man. We're going to get into the Browns schedule a little bit. We're going to, that just released, and people is talking about taking these L's so quickly. I don't know if I want to just chalk up taking no L's, by the way. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the schedule coming up here as well. We're going to get into the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's been a couple of days since the Cleveland Cavaliers have got eliminated from the postseason. I will be breaking down the postseason and what I think happens, what I think needs to be happening moving forward. I was disappointed in us for what I was hearing this week. Usually I'm on UCSS on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. So I'm on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday during the offseason. So the Cavs lost on Tuesday night. So I didn't get to really give my thoughts on Wednesday or Thursday. I kind of said some things yesterday. But what I did is I prepared some stuff so we can really dig down deep into it and really take a look and see what's going on with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we're going to do that as well. So if you're looking for Cavs content, you will be getting Cavs content coming up later in the show as well. Browns mini rookie camp happened last week. We did some big numbers. We really did it up, man. People came up. We showed up loud and proud. And we really changed the way people started looking at things. I believe we were a catalyst over here in terms of the way we position certain things and the way that we called it like we saw it. We thought that there was people putting their thumb on the scales. It ruffled a lot of feathers in the industry. I received some messages. I received some texts. I received some side eye, but we don't care about that. Because as you see, as we go into what we're talking about today, it's important because guess what? Shadeur Sanders starting to change some minds. And for me, it wasn't about jumping out here and putting a flag on certain things. This is the wild part about it. When I do shows, I tell the truth, right? When I do shows, I tell the truth. And there's a lot of people, if you guys haven't, if you're new to the channel, a lot of people were angry at the fact that I told the truth about the Deshaun Watson thing. Now, look, Deshaun Watson didn't play well last year. That's why Shedeur Sanders is in the building. Deshaun Watson didn't play well. That's why he got replaced by Jameis Winston. The offense looked better. Joe Flacco, the offense looked better. Deshaun Watson was injured. He got injured. He was out of here. And guess what? He's going to have to figure out what he's going to do with his career. But the one thing that we're going to get out the way and how we always say it is, I tell the truth. I don't have no hidden agenda. Because when Deshaun Watson started playing bad last year, I was one of the first people to say, listen, at the end of the day, his play on the field is not getting it done. But they don't listen to that. They listen to the fact that I told them, you guys was doing so much on these allegations, but I don't know what happened to I don't, Justin Tucker. What allegations? You got mad at me because I said, listen, bro, Cleveland Browns fans, you shouldn't boo people that's on the field that's injured. You booed Tim Couch, you booed Deshaun Watson, or cheer when somebody gets hurt. People didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that I said, guys, listen, Deshaun Watson is injured for the season. Why are you searching for social media clicks to talk about whether or not he's eating dinner with his wife? Y'all got mad about that. But at the end of the day, people try to clump the two situations together and just be like, oh, well, G. Bush, are you a little nervous because people may consider that you're just putting a cape on for Shadeur Sanders after what you did with Deshaun Watson? What, tell the truth? I told the truth in that situation too. But when you look at what I'm talking about and how I'm moving, I'm going to tell the truth every single time. You could try to play them games with me. You can try it all you want. Oh, he just does that because why? It just happens to be two black quarterbacks. I care about what happens on the field. I care about what you do. And I care about keeping it a buck when it comes to certain. Two things can be equal at the same time. I can say, yeah, there were certain things in the Deshaun Watson situation that it was looking kind of shaky and biased. And then I could also say at the same time, guess what? He didn't play well enough to keep his job. You see how that works? You can do two things at once. So no. Am I going to, do you want to wait and see? My thing ain't about waiting and seeing. Shadeur Sanders will ultimately judge, and he'll be judged based on what he does on the field, his merits, his actions, what he's going to do, how he throws the football, how his teammates love him, how all that. He has an opportunity to do that. But my job is to objectively sit here and give you how I see the situation and let it play out after that. See, a lot of difference between a lot of you guys and me is I stand on my own. I don't need no cosign. I don't need nobody else to be rubbing my shoulders and say, oh, we're in the good old boys club and we're hanging out. I don't like that. There was a lot of people that did not like what I was talking last week. A lot of people was upset. But you know what happened? I stood on what I stood on. I don't care if you give me no text messages. I don't care nothing about them DMs either. I stand what I said for and what I meant. And I'm going to keep talking my talk. Now I thought it was funny. I think it was funny. Shout out to Zach Jackson. Zach Jackson came on that show, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. He went viral. We were on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show and he went viral. One of the things I did, and this is the crazy part about it, because, you know, there's some people right there, and if anybody, one of these guys is listening, listen up very closely. Zach Jackson came on the show. That was on a Monday, last Monday. Prior to that conversation I had with Zach Jackson as we were interviewing him, I made a decision. You know what I was going to do? I was going to sit back and I was going to let Zach say what he was going to say. I didn't lead the witness. As you go back and watch that clip. I'm sitting there the whole time like this. I didn't lead the witness. I didn't tell him what I had said earlier that month or that week or where I wanted Shedeur. I let him come on the platform and I asked him questions. See, there's a lot of cats and trolls out there talking about, why does G. Bush always talk spicy on his platform, but when the guys are sitting there, he doesn't say anything to them. He talks all this trash about his coworkers and stuff. I say it ain't about talking about trash. You know what? We have conversations on and off. Everybody in the industry knows G. Bush says what he wants to, and he does a good job of making sure that people understand where he's at. But during that platform, this is why you got to break this down and explain it to people. When you're on UCSS, shout out to everybody in UCSS. How you doing? Make sure you subscribe and like. When you're on UCSS, you're on a panel with 3 to 4 other people and producers. We got a list of an agenda that we have to get to in our rundown. That rundown is created by the producers. When I'm on a panel show, my job is to add to the conversation that's being had at the time. It doesn't mean it's time for G. Bush to get on there and go on a tangent for 15 minutes about things that I personally feel about, right? So that's why you have your own platforms. There's multiple platforms that I have. I have a platform on the Bleacher Report. I have a platform on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I have a platform for the barbershop. I have a platform for the Ultimate Browns. Each one of those things are there to give you a different perspective of the sports scene. So if we're sitting here and we're bringing an interview, somebody on, whether it's Mary Kay, whether it's Zach Jackson, whether it's Aditi, whether it's Leroy Hoare, Bernie, whoever, Joe Thomas, our job is to make that to get the expertise from them at that time. It's not to be sitting there giving 1,000 opinions on different things. To ask questions and get the information in a different perspective. So no, I'm not going to be sitting up there reading off Shadeur Sanders stats and telling them why people is all off base on the narrative about him when I'm trying to get something from Zach Jackson. So you know what we did? I just sat there and said, I asked my questions, let him say what he would say. And when he said what he said, and it wasn't close, he was doing this thing and it wasn't close, that part went viral. But remember, we talked about that on this platform 2 days prior to that. Go back and look at the thumbnail. I said, Shadeur Sanders is up 1-0 and it's easy. So sometimes you could be a catalyst for something and you not even really know it. Zach Jackson came on. He was on Colin Cowherd. Shout out to Colin Cowherd. He mentioned the show. Multiple national media outlets picked it up. And more than anything, it ain't about big up and me and what I said to begin with. It's to give people, it's to shed light and to give, if we're going to have a fair runway, we're going to have a fair competition, let's talk about the things and be fair about them. Let's talk about the stuff and be objective about it. I've said this before. Me personally, I think Shedeur Sanders is a more complete, more I would say accomplished, and also a better physical quarterback than Dillon Gabriel. That's just my opinion about it. But one thing I'm willing to say is if Dillon Gabriel comes out here and he's balling, I have no choice but to say that Dillon Gabriel is balling. The integrity of the football, the tape don't lie. And so that's the things that I'm standing on. That's the things that I like to talk about is the tape. And at that point in time, Shedeur Sanders, in my opinion, his tape looked better. So, but if Dillon Gabriel comes out here to a man and wins the battle, then you salute you tip your cap to Dillon Gabriel. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult, people. So, one of the things that we looked at with Shedeur Sanders and why I liked it a lot is because now people, because there is another perspective being put into the stratosphere. There is some other people saying, pushing back, like, hold on, was all this pre-draft stuff, what was this about? Because it wasn't about talent. We saw that last week. The talent is there. What is it about? Well, I think Shedeur is still continually doing some great things. Every interview I hear him, I keep hearing people on the opposite side of the aisle say, you know what? This kid ain't that bad. Every time I hear him, he sounds more and more like somebody I could get behind. This interview is courtesy of the Cleveland Browns. This is with Andrew Siciliano. And he's done a couple of interviews so far. But I'm going to show you this interview. And I thought this interview showed the light side of Shedeur Sanders. I thought actually in this interview, he gets back to doing some of the things that he's confident. Because at a point in time, I thought that the goal was to strip him of his confidence level. To strip him of all, like, oh, you need to be humble. And his manager, his longtime friend Boogie Knight, who came on the show, said, listen, be careful what you ask for, because what makes a person tick is that inner wisdom, that clock that says, hey, I am something special out here. Take a look at this interview right here.
Walking out of the building here at the Cross Country Mortgage Fieldhouse, and you looked at that grass. Yeah. How good was it day one on Friday to actually put that 12 on, get to that in a second, and be a Cleveland Brown?
It felt amazing. I came here on the 30 visit, and, you know, I was just anxious at that time, like, you know, wanting to know where I'm going to end up at, where I'm going to be, and what franchise I'm going to have a chance of turning around. So I was just excited that finally, you know, everything came true, and, you know, this building is extremely comfortable.
The end of a long journey. I would have to think that actually getting that that whole process, getting the pro day, getting all of that behind you and actually putting a helmet on and throwing a football just felt normal again, didn't it?
It did. It did. So that's why I told myself, like, yesterday after yesterday practice, I said, I got to have more fun.
Did you not have fun?
No, I have a lot. No, for sure I have fun, but you got to think in those processes so serious all the time. And whenever you're around the teammates and just being around everybody now, it gave me that wholesome feeling again, just being around just the team chemistry, the different personalities that you're going to meet, just all those different type of things.
So, like, be loose, in other words. Like, be yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll say that. That's what teams bring out of you. So now everybody gelling with each other, everybody met each other, so it's real exciting that, I'm excited for today's practice.
It feels like the pressure's off you a little bit more. Pressure is like a weird phrase, but like
really
the weight of the
pressure.
world of the whole process.
Nah, not really the weight of the process. It's like you actually able to meet and understand different human beings that is in the same process with you. That's what the most interesting thing and fun thing to me is now, that these are actual people too.
We don't see it, but you're wearing 12. You're joking to the media that you're not buying anyone else's number now.
I'm not doing that.
No, but did 12 feel good? It's Dad's number backwards.
You get the hint. You get the hint. So yeah, I felt good wearing it for sure. It felt good wearing it. Any number gonna feel good wearing it. It's about what I do in the number.
I like that right there. Let me stop that right there. I like that energy. See, y'all thought you was gonna dumb it down and have him out here scrambling. Man, listen, I like that. I like that moxie. Hey, any number I put on, it don't matter what the number is. I ain't petty like that. Forget the 2, the 12, whatever is 13. It depends on what I do in it. I like that. Give me a round of applause for that. I like that answer. I like that. It's about what I do in the jersey number. It ain't the jersey number. Don't get caught up in the number. Don't get caught up in it. We talking business. It's about what I do in that jersey, boy. I like that.
For real.
I love what you said out there as well. You said, you're not here to prove people wrong. Finish it for me. You are
here to prove myself right.
How do you prove yourself right?
Win games. I think that's what all the fans and that's what everybody want to see, and just be the person I know I am.
How do you prove that? Win these damn football games. We won 3 of them to be exact last year. I don't like winning 3 games. See, listen, that's the difference. When people say, why is he so popular? When you get an opportunity to see what he's about, he comes off as natural, comes off as humble, comes out as confident. He's self-deprecating at times. He's intelligent. He has, he knows what to say at the right times. And there's a lot of people out here, and they be cracking me up. I don't understand it, man. They be cracking me up. I can't stand to see any more Shadeur Sanders videos. I'm like, bro, like how is that? That tells me a lot about people when they say that. I hope you don't know that's a slight tale. Ain't no man supposed to be that envious and jealous of another man. When Baker Mayfield got here, we talked about him every day, and rightfully so, because we drafted him number 1 overall, and he was a quarterback. When Johnny Manziel got here, we talked about him all the time. When Brady Quinn was here, he was always in it. When is Brady playing? It's a quarterback, and the Cleveland Browns have a competition. What did you think we were going to talk about? The Guardians losing 2 or 3? It's summertime. What do you think we was going to talk about, dog? Stop it.
How do you embrace this competition? Not just with Dylan Gabriel, but with the other quarterbacks in what we all agree is a crowded quarterback room. Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
Just focus on myself and what I need to do to get better in any areas, I'm lacking in.
What have your first couple of days, you've been here for a while now, a couple of weeks now, been in Cleveland, whether it's going to meet kids at a high school, working out, sitting in your hotel room, I know, watching the Cavs and grinding on the playbook as well. What's that all been like for you?
It was been a good experience. It's been different for me. It's adjustment, I would say. But it was adjustment for the better. And, when I get to my hotel room, I feel comfortable in there every day, because I know I'm not leaving here until they say. So it's exciting, you know, that I'm able to have a nice place to sleep at that's make me feel cozy, make me feel at home. I know I won't be switching rooms and getting in and out.
So when he be talking, now mind you, according to my man Boogie, people talk about Shedeur Sanders. Shadeur Sanders been rich his whole life. As a matter of fact, in just endorsements alone, he made $24 million since January. It's according to his team. He's sitting there, he acting like he ain't never been in no hotel before. This don't sound like no dude that's running around here talking about I'm rich, I got it, I'm about to do this. He said, bro, I love it because I love my hotel room. Shout out for the Browns for providing it. And I'm just sitting here learning the playbook. And hey, I ain't even got to worry about going nowhere. I can just stay in there and do my thing. That don't sound like a dude that's not humble. That don't sound like a dude who probably done stayed in the best hotels in the world. Top suites, penthouse. Like, come on. It ain't like he ain't never been there before. But he's showing you the down, just a person that's really down to earth. And it's just like, yo, like, look, this is great, man. I can stay in the hotel. I think it's even free, man. Shoot, I'm about to stay up in here. Over here. I could go right to the practice facility. It's just light. I love this. I'm just still trying to figure out where people had an issue.
Now the different hotel room.
How important is it for you to get out in the community?
I would say it's extremely important, but it's important for my own happiness.
How does it make you happy?
It makes me happy because I'm being able to connect with people, connect with human beings, and not just because this is the thing. If you live in a world of social media, you're gonna think very negatively, and this for all athletes. You'll think very negatively about yourself, or you'll feel too high up. You get what I'm saying? Because that's how media is. You're either gonna be high up or they're gonna tear you down. It's gonna be one or two. There's no in between. So for me, I don't pay attention to that stuff. I focus on, real life. I never seen hate in real life by fans and people spectating that I met ever. So hate only exists online, basically.
I like that because a lot of people, I was looking at underneath the comment section and people was confused with what he was trying to say. Is he saying, man, listen, when you out in the public and you really touching and seeing people and really interacting with people, people don't come up to you with that level of hate. People only get comfortable with hating and saying all the craziest, reckless stuff in the world is when you got somebody that's comfortable with an egg emoji underneath, no face, no picture with it, saying the most ridiculous stuff in the world. You'd be like, bro, why is you saying that and you got kids? You work in a position of leadership at a corporation. You got 3 kids and you got a wife. And you go to church every Sunday, but you on here under this false screen name just doing the most. He's saying, look, man, if you get off social media is a place where they can either say you're the greatest person in the world and you have no flaws, which is going to lead down to a path of you not being what you need to be, or there's going to be a path where they're going to tear you down and tell you you ain't nothing where you just was at. Right? Because they don't know you like that. One of the great things is when you go and you're grounded and you go talk to people at schools, and he's done this in every place. He goes, when he was on visits to places he might not even have been getting drafted, people drafting him there, he still went to those schools there because he said, it's for me. I do that because that's for my personal well-being, my mental health, my spirituality, the things that I like to see and hear and do and touch people. And I thought it was crazy that people tried to, it's a publicity stunt. Again, that tells me a little bit more about you than him. If you think any act of kindness is a publicity stunt, I mean, maybe that's how you operate.
How do you deal with it? Because it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying hate, it's spotlight. Some of it can be negative, certainly. How do you deal with that?
It's the same as it is every year. So I'm accustomed to it. I'm used to it. So I don't even really, focus on it. It don't live in my mind at all.
What's the biggest misconception about you, whether it be from social media
I don't know what people think of me. I don't know what people think of me. So if we had just a questionnaire and put everybody in the building, what do you think about Shedeur eventually, then I'm pretty sure it'd be number positive.
I guarantee you there'll be plenty of positives as well, and there'll be positives when they get out there on the field as well. You have a message here for Browns fans who have been, speaking of social media, obviously sitting on their phones, hanging on their phones, looking for every possible clip of you or Dylan or any of these rookies, Mason Graham, all the way down the line. What is your message here for the Dog Pound?
We're here to work. Simple. That's what we came here to do. That's what we're going to do.
All right, and that work begins this weekend. Shedeur, the 12 looks good, man.
Begins now.
Begins now.
Actually, yesterday.
All right, well, we're about to get out there for day 2.
I like that. He said, no, let's go ahead and talk about why it is now. I like it. Does that mean Shadeur Sanders? That was courtesy of the Cleveland Browns, by the way. Does that mean Shedeur Sanders is going to come out here and be a Super Bowl winning quarterback year 1? No. Does it mean he's not going to have some pitfalls? He might have some setbacks on the field? No. Does that mean that he's the best quarterback that we've ever seen in our lives? No. Does he still have to go out and earn it and work for it and beat Dylan Gabriel out and beat Kenny Pickett out and beat Joe Flacco out and still continue to show his teammates, the coaching and the organization that he's worth that guy to be playing? Sure. All that's true. But it also can do one or two things as well. I think when you hear him talk like that, what it'll do is it gives your coaching staff more confident in you to give you more playing time. And I want to get this straight. I want to get this, be clear. The job will be done on the field. The job will be won between the white lines. It's not the interviews that get it done. It's touchdowns, completions, in and out of the huddle, making the right checks, making the right moves. That's where the job will be won at. But the other stuff gives the coaching staff the ability and the confidence to give you the reps so that you can earn the job. See what I'm saying? Without getting those reps, you can't show your talent. Without getting the opportunity on the field to show what you can do, you can't win the job. You say, how do you win the job? You win the job through your actions and the intangibles and the stuff that you do in the building throughout that time period. A lot of people will glaze over what I say because sometimes you just get caught up in what I'm saying, that's bombastic or large or big, and you don't drill down on what I'm actually saying. And what I'm actually saying is you got to do two things. You got to overdo it. And I think Shadeur Sanders is doing a good job of doing that right now. And when you do those things, what you start to see is the national people coming around. Because here's the thing. Let me be honest with you guys. Here's how it works. Last week, I gave, and this was to me a class in what the media does, right? Let me give you a class in the national media. The national media, what they do, they don't have an opportunity or the time or the energy to cover the minutia of the Cleveland Browns. Most of them are in New York or LA. They concentrate on the big stories. They talk about the Cowboys. They talk about the Giants. They talk about the Eagles. They talk about those big teams, the flagship teams. And they don't have the ability to be sitting around watching Browns minicamp or Browns practices or the Patriots practices. No, they follow the superstars and they follow what they do more closely. They don't drill down on the Browns and what they're doing in the minutia until they find that they got a superstar or somebody that moves the needle. Shadeur Sanders moves the needle, right? So they're going to cover it a little bit more. But guess what? They still don't have the time to be sitting here watching these practices. So they take the cue and they take the leadership and they read the tea leaves from by what the local media says. And so they go back and they look and they say, okay, there's a lot of noise coming out of Cleveland about Dylan Gabriel and Shadeur Sanders, which is correct, which is accurate. Let me drill down on that and see what we got going. If they feel like, there's a little Cleveland bias in this, I don't know, you guys are just fanboys right now. I don't see it. They'll create a story and say, Cleveland is really excited about Shadeur Sanders. Here's why I think they're faulty. But if they drill down on the story and look around and read the tea leaves and say, I think they might be onto something. They got a little energy level to this Shadeur Sanders thing. Hey, producer, hey, at the 8-10, let's talk about the Shadeur Sanders things. I'm looking at the numbers from Cleveland and around in Pittsburgh and some of the Midwest cities, and I'm starting to see a rise and a spike in some of these numbers outside of Cleveland. Now they want to take advantage of that. When the story goes viral and people go viral and Shedeur is winning by a landslide when it was the opposite of what it was supposed to be, that story picked up steam. National media says, might be something there. Let's take a look at it. But on the outside looking in, they're not going to be coming around, sniffing around in local stories for a 3-14 football team unless you moving the needle. And now there's a shift. Shedeur is moving the needle a little bit. So now you have guys like this, Pat McAfee show, where they have Dan Orlovsky on. And Dan is now coming out doing some of the same things that Colin Cowherd has said. Well, Cleveland Browns fans in front office, if you like Shadeur Sanders at 2, and at worst, you thought you should have took him at 33, why is there a surprise that he's playing this well at camp? And why is there a surprise that people would not say, given the opportunity, he could be your day one starter? Think about that. We've all come to the conclusion Shadeur Sanders did not fall in the draft due to his talent. That's false. That's completely false. We've already debunked that. He did not fall because they didn't think he could throw the ball. He didn't fall because he wasn't accurate. He was the most accurate quarterback in the history of the game. He didn't fall because people didn't like him and his team and he wasn't a good leader. He fell because of narratives around the process of interviewing at the combine and throughout some of those visits. He's not the first person to do it, won't be the last person. But my question is, when you start talking about starting day one or being able to start, there's this thing where people is kind of like this. I don't know why they would think he could start possibly. Wow, it should be Kenny Pickett. But no. If you liked him at 2, Mel Kiper had him the number 1 guy on the board. If we, everybody in the you find me one person, and I'm just giving you this, find me one person that said he was a 5th round talent. You can't find it. He fell because of the other stuff. But when the other stuff, you start to hear him, you start to see him, you start to see him interact with his teammates. When the other stuff starts to fall to the wayside, why wouldn't you expect somebody to be like, this kid could possibly be started? He might got something here. Take a look at what Pat McAfee said on his show in terms of Shedeur Sanders and what they're thinking with Dan Orlovsky, that this might be a Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders for the starting role, not just the backup.
Cleveland Browns. Obviously, you got Joe Flacco there. You got Kenny Pickett, and then the 2 rookies with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. What do you think? How do you see this playing out for Cleveland throughout the season? What do you think the plan is going through the season, and how do the reps get broken down from a guy who's been in the quarterback room for a long time?
Yeah, I would do everything I can to start either Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel this year. I would only start Joe Flacco or Kenny, and probably Joe if, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. And if you're Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barrow, their head coach and general manager, you go, hey, if one of these 2 kids starts, we're going to get fired. If it's that bad throughout the preseason. So I think Joe is just there certainly for comfort. The reps, I don't think that, and I saw Kevin, and I know you guys talked about this a little bit yesterday, the reps, like in the offseason, specifically in that spring period, reps really don't matter who you're doing them with. Because, but you know this, you got.
I want to jump in here really quick. He's of the mindset that I'm a little bit of the mindset as well. If it's close, I'm going with the young guy. If it's close, I'm going with the young guy. If you get past preseason and the summer camps and you get into the preseason and you start to see, okay, well, to me, it boils down to how acclimated they are to the playbook. Do they know the checks? Do they know certain things? Or do they seem poised enough to not turn the football over? And are they doing some of the things that Kevin Stefanski wants them to do and concentrate on? If that's yes, there's no upside into playing one of the old veterans. It's not. It's not. Let me give you an example, and we'll get back to this really quickly. Look at Kenny Pickett. They already declined his fifth-year option. So that means if Kenny Pickett, say, for instance, let's go through all the scenarios. Kenny Pickett starts an entire year. He's your guy, entire year. Say you go 4-13. He starts the entire year. Well, Kenny Pickett doesn't have any more years on his contract. So then you're going to have to make a decision on Kenny Pickett. Do you want to give Kenny Pickett on 1 year of production on a 4-13 team a contract like Sam Darnold got? Because that's what happened with Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold had a way bigger body of work, right? Sam Darnold got a large contract. So they would have to pay him a large amount of money to keep him while Deshaun Watson is still on this roster. Not going to be attainable. The reason why Dylan and Shadeur Sanders make sense is because you can almost eliminate any penalties that you have for Deshaun Watson if you find a franchise quarterback in the 3rd or 5th round pick. If those guys are franchise quarterbacks, the Deshaun Watson deal, whatever may happen, I talked to Quincy Carrier about this. Nobody remembers Deshaun Watson if you get a quarterback in the 5th round and you got 4 years of dirt cheap top-notch quarterback play, whether that's from Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, right? But if you start Pickett, guess what? You want to pay him $100-some million? You want to pay him $25 million a year? Doesn't seem like you want to do that, do you? Let's go to Joe Flacco. I like Flacco. I think Flacco could win you some games. I think you win 7 games with Flacco if he's able to play. I like him. He's familiar. But Joe's 41. He's on a 1-year deal. He got 2 picks next year. He's not. The Browns aren't bringing him back. They're not. I don't care if Joe Flacco will throw for 6,000. They won't bring him back. And you still don't know exactly what you have a quarterback. Or my thought process, Dan Orlovsky's process, McAfee's thoughts are this. You got a 3rd round and a 5th rounder. Maybe you like both of them. One's a starter, one's a backup. I want to see when you look at this schedule, and the schedule came out. People talk about, I wouldn't play him until after Miami, week 6 or 7. I wouldn't play these guys, G. I wouldn't play them. Well, listen, I want to see what they're about. What's the best way to find out if somebody is good or not? To play them. That's what they did to Jaden Daniels. That's what they did out in New England, right? This is what they did out in New England. You play the guy and see what's going on. So to me, there's no upside in playing, Pickett or Flacco 7-8 games, and then now all of a sudden you only have 8 games to evaluate. That's just me. Let me know. How many games you willing to wait and sit? Am I crazy? Put it in the comment section. We'll get to that very soon. Continue on.
The receiver fluctuation of this guy's only going to take 4 reps. This guy's going to take 6 reps. This offensive lineman may not practice today. So, a lot of times coaches are more trying to put you as the quarterback in situations with certain people rather than certain number 1, number 2, number 3 on the board type of thing. So sometimes it's like, hey, I want to see how he performs with the backup offensive line against the starting defensive line, or I want to see how he throws the ball to David Njoku, or I want to see how him and Jerry Jeudy communicate, stuff like that. So that's a huge part of it too, rather than what guy runs out there first, one guy runs out there second. I want to see him go against the starting secondary, and so there's a lot of that goes on with the quarterback kind of moving chairs or musical chairs and the reps distribution. But if I was Cleveland, and because of the trade and knowing what 26 looks like for them, at least as we sit here today with the draft, there's not a ton of benefit for me starting Joe Flacco because it doesn't answer anything with the potential of next year's class and them figuring out long term at least, what's the situation. So I would start one of those two rookies.
How do you feel from Dylan Gabriel's standpoint? Do you like where Dylan Gabriel is?
Yo, I really liked Gabriel. Gabriel was a guy for me. I remember talking to Field Yates about Dylan Gabriel, maybe like early November, and just sitting there going, sneaky guy that could get into early second round. And I think what for me kind of cooled me with Gabriel was the playoff was such like a poor representation of who he was. I felt like it just did not go well. Obviously, boat raced by Ohio State. And so that calmed me a little bit on Dylan, but he's played a ton of football. He's got a lot of similarities to a player like Tua, not only lefty and whatnot, but the ball distribution, the anticipation, the layering throws over guys. So, Miami, I honestly thought was maybe an interesting place for him in that second or third round, but I don't think Gabriel is a guy that people should overlook. He's a really, really talented thrower. And by all accounts, it seems like Shedeur's had a good start. So I think one of those guys has got to be the person that, as Cleveland, in the next couple of months, you go, okay, you got to show me you can't do it. Like, you got to show me that this would be a disaster for us to start you, or we're going to start you and see if we've, again, like the Saints, we got lucky on some stuff.
Dylan drafted
And
2 rounds.
let me say this last real quickly to end. Sorry. I actually always thought Cleveland was a significantly better place for Shedeur than Pittsburgh when it came to their scheme.
There you have it. Dan Orlovsky. At the end, he gives Dylan Gabriel some praise. He said he was a sneaky guy. I had some of the same reservations about Dylan Gabriel, I'm going to be honest with you, against the Ohio State game. The Ohio State game, the second one in a row, it was crazy. I thought Ohio State had, as many talented guys they had. I thought that was a representation of a defense that you would get an opportunity to see in the NFL. And I think that's more of what you would see, how the production would go. It's just so tough when you're going against monsters up front like that, guys that could be sticky in coverage, people flying all over the field. I just don't know if Dylan Gabriel has the arm talent. But look, the Cleveland Browns, as I said before, Stefanski and Barry believed in what he was going to do, and he has an opportunity to compete. That's up to Shedeur and the rest of the quarterbacks to beat him out. Like I said, if he comes out and balls out, guess what? I support him. He's a Cleveland Brown. It is what it is. But I do believe Shadeur Sanders is the better option. We'll see how he goes and takes it to the reins. But I think the most important thing coming from this and the takeaway from this is this. I think the most important takeaway is the fact that now you're starting to see people come around. People are starting to come around a little bit to the realization that, why would this not be a season in which you wanted to see which one of your rookie guys can do it? Why would you not want to see what Shadeur Sanders was about when you thought he had a second overall quarterback on your board, or at least a second round grade at 33? Why would you not want to see that? And you start to look and say, okay, well, look, hey man, we've gotten to a point where extrapolate it out. What is the best case and worst case scenario for who starts? If Flacco starts and plays 17 games, that's a tough scenario, because that means his contract is up. Kenny Pickett's contract is up, and you've got no reps from these two guys that you could figure out in whether or not you need a quarterback next year. If Kenny Pickett is a quarterback for 17 weeks, guess what? You're going to pay Kenny Pickett $120 million if he's the guy. And if he's not the guy and he stinks to join up, he's going to leave anyway. You just wasted the reps. I think more and more will come around when people will start to look at this thing and say, look, this is a two-dog race. And it's not the fact that, and me saying it's a two-dog race does not mean that Kevin Stefanski is going to hand any of these guys the job. Listen to what I'm saying. So when you guys see it in the comment section, you can say, G. Bush, you weren't listening. They have to earn it. I believe Dan Orlovsky said it best. If Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry see these guys in the summertime and say, listen, if we start one of these dudes, it's going to be so bad, we're going to get fired. They're not going to start them. They're going with with one of these other two guys, right? And then we'll ease them in. But if it's close, I wholeheartedly believe that one of the two rookies will get it. Let's get back to the comments. Let's see what we got going on. 474 comments. We'll get to these 2,000 people in here. We want to shout out Facebook. We want to shout out YouTube. If you're a barbershop clan, I appreciate you. We welcome on in UCSS and, of course, on Twitter, a.k.a. X. We appreciate you as well. Let's get it popping. My man Alan Ferguson says, got to get Mary Kay or Grossy on. Would love to see you call them out in an interview, especially Grossy. He got a Sanders hate fester growing in him. I appreciate it, Alan. Here's the thing. I don't even look. I've had when I used to do my let me take this down. Take this down. When I used to do my radio show, Mary Kay used to be on all the time. I've never had the opportunity to talk to, I've worked with Tony Grossi in the past, but it was more on the production side with the Browns radio network. I've never, as a host, had an opportunity. Obviously, I used to work for 92. He works for ESPN Cleveland. You know, we don't have very many conversations back and forth. That's just what the policy is. But in terms of me being, now where I'm at independently, I don't have a problem with Mary Kay or Tony Grossi. That's why I say I don't have no issue with nobody, because you know what? I speak my stuff openly. Listen, if they want to make 10 block, people always talk about, hey man, why didn't you say it this? I said, listen, I ain't never had a copyright strike on nobody. If you want to take my footage, recreate it, put 35 captions on it, and then be like, G. Bush was out of pocket, so be it. Everybody got an opportunity to rebuttal. I don't kick nobody out of nowhere. You can come right in the comment section. I take all kind of comments all the time. Listen, everybody got my number, phone number, digits. We've had conversations all the time. I've had conversations. Shout out to Mary Kay. There's things that we didn't agree on. She hit me up. We talked and had a conversation, and we all love. Mary Kay's on UCSS every single week. So I don't got no problem with nobody. My thing is I'm a little more vocal on it. I just put it out there. I ain't got no agenda. I just don't agree with the assessment in which that Shadeur Sanders was some sort of, I don't know, like you try to act like he couldn't play. I don't agree with that. So for me, it is what it is. Like, I go on anybody's platform. I have conversations with everybody all the time. It's not a big deal. This is an opinion-based business. And if you don't agree, sometimes you can agree to disagree. Hey, man, ain't nobody shot nobody. I'm just saying. But my interviews do hit a little harder. My blogs do be hitting. I'm playing. Let's get back to it. Let's see what we got here. Let me see. Let me see. So here's Shamira at Vibesless. Yes, the most glazed QB that draft. Now this one was Shedeur. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. Glazing at this point. Dave Young. Shedeur is used to being terrible at terrible universities. That's why I would place my money on Shedeur. Let me see. I'm a Rams fan, but pulling for the Browns because of Shedeur. He to see, like to see, I don't know how you phrase this typo. His progress sounds like he's off to a good start, right? It's very clear to see you're just backing him because he's black. Well, listen, here's the thing. At least you open enough to say it. At least you're open enough to tell people how you feel about it. And he's open to being blackballed by the NFL. No, Shamira, I think what people are saying is that they've seen him throw the football And if they've watched him throw the football at Jackson State and watched him throw the football and become an All-American and become one of the most prolific passers in the history of Colorado, I don't think that he had anything to do with it. Some would argue that he was kind of unfairly treated in the interview process, but at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of people standing on business that the guy could throw the football. I don't care if listen, Colin Kaepernick got blackballed. Do I want him as my quarterback now? No. Like, nah, bro, I'm cool on Colin. Like, what do you, I don't know where you're coming with that. Let's see. Let's keep it going. Let me see. Let me get a couple more of these in here. Mike Cunningham, this is a good question. Can Shedeur be better than the Houston version of Deshaun Watson? This is a tough one. Let's be clear. Deshaun Watson threw for 4,000 some yards. He was very accurate. What did he do? Let me see. Let me take a look. Deshaun Watson stats. Let's take a look at what he did specifically. Let me see. What year are we looking for? What year? According to Football Reference, Deshaun Watson was in Houston from 2017 to 2020. In his first year, he started 6 games. And he had a QBR of 83.7. And he threw for 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 1,699 yards. He really broke out his breakout year when he really got played 16 games. He threw for 4,165 yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And his QBR was 61.8 and his rating was 103.1. That was his first year. He was 23 at that time. He was pretty good. That's pretty good. That's really good numbers, actually, matter of fact. His breakout year, his best year, was when he was 25. They went 4-12 in that season, but he threw for 4,823 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He threw for over 301 yards per game, and his rating was 112.4. He was really good. Do I think Shedeur can get to that level? It's a possibility. He's very accurate. I don't know if he'll have the opportunity to throw the ball that much. 4,800 yards, you got to put the ball up in the air. How many attempts did he have? He threw the ball 544 times. His completion percentage was 70%. That's a really good season. I mean, if he has a season like that, the Browns is going to be cooking. Deshaun Watson, that 25-year-old season, he was cooking. Do I think Shedeur can get there? Yeah. Yeah, I think he can get there. It's going to take some work, but I don't know if he had an opportunity. But, the Browns want to do more play action and do things like that. But is he going to have a chance to look at something like that? Yeah. Mike Swagger says people forget how Deshaun Watson really was. He fell off a huge cliff. Man, Deshaun Watson, this is crazy too. Deshaun Watson at one point in time was probably a top 3 quarterback. I mean, he was a top 3. Look at those numbers. I mean, this dude was spectacular, man. 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns. I'm not even counting his rushing yards. Not even counting his rushing yards. And then take a look at what happened when he was in Cleveland. Sat out 2 years. That 2 years killed. I think the 2 years killed his game. I'll be honest with you. 2 years killed his game. I remember my dad used to always say, I used to play baseball in high school, and I tried to play baseball in college. And I remember my dad saying, if you ever stop playing, you're going to have an uphill battle, because every year that you keep playing, guys are taking jumps. So those pitchers that you saw in high school that you was killing, the velocity is up. The curveball is dropping off the table now. Guys are just better fielders. They get into some of the balls that you hit in the outfield. You're not going to be able to have this. It's just the progression starts. I think them 2 years hurt it. 2 years hurt it. 12-1 to 2024 Johnny United's Golden Arm Award. Yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with the other stuff. I remember watching Deshaun break a tackle, get kicked in the eye, and throw a tutty with one eye closed while he was being tackled. He was a dog. He was. Grossly Mary Kay and Cleveland Media Mafia hate Shedeur and what he stands for by so personally. They shoulder shrug and then try to tell us a quarterback you have to look through a magnifying glass is better. Here's the thing about, I think this is to be pointed out a little bit. Hit the like button wherever you at. I think this is to be pointed out a little bit. That in this business, and I'll give them grace a little bit. And it's not like I'm just out here. I try to be unbiased as I can. Their job and my job is two different things. First of all, I'm an entertainer. And first of all, my job is to tell you, I'm not a beat reporter. Like, I'm not going around. There's certain aspects of a beat reporter. You got to think about it like this. It really don't do a beat reporter any justice to be bold on anything. Case in point, if I was Mary Kay or if I was Tony, and you came out and you said, who looks better? It's better for you to downplay it and say it's even. Here's why. Because what if you say you like a person better, and it is obvious when practice starts that person is not better than another person? Then people are going to be like, I thought you said. Case in point, I said Deshaun Watson was going to throw for 4,500. I said, I need 5,000, 4,500. People went crazy. They're like, Deshaun Watson is barely throwing for this, that, and that. I said, listen, who would have known he was terrible? I didn't know he fell off a cliff. How am I going to prognosticate that? See, but that's the difference. I'm an opinion person. It's easier for me to be like, all right, well, listen, I always tell people when you get new information, always be willing to change your mind. Only a fool doubles down on something that we know is not true. There's a lot of flat earthers just keep doubling down. Why are you doubling down? You know the earth is round. Quit playing. Yes, we landed on the moon. Stop it. But if you're a beat reporter, you got to see them people every day. So you got to be able to ask questions, develop relationships. You got to be able to do a lot of different things inside those locker rooms in order to do your job. So sometimes it don't come out, it don't pay for you to have hot takes. So sometimes if there's a quarterback competition, it's better that you have all the information before you give your assessment of the situation. Because then, it's a lot easier. It's evident. When the coach already done said he's starting and you done asked him and he says, he's starting, you could go ahead and run with that. I don't got to use nothing what I know. So I will give people, it's a little bit different in terms of what their job is and what my job is. Last one, before we're going to get to some Cavs here as well. Oh man, y'all cats is funny. Okay, all right, here we go. Yeah. I lived in LA, and the moon landing was shot at Laurel Canyon Boulevard by the CIA. Whew, boy, oh boy. You see what you done did, boy? Shout out to all. And I bet you Stanley Kubrick. He was the director of that, right? Come on, man. I heard Stanley Kubrick after A Space Odyssey. He said, I can shoot it. I can make it look real. Yeah, we're not gonna go back down to that. We're not gonna go back down that road too quickly. Let's get to something else. I want to talk about this. You know, look, I didn't want to get to it. But we're gonna get to it. What nobody wants to hear about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here's the problem that I've had having a conversation about the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this is going to be, I'm going to put my nice little bow on the Cleveland Cavaliers system or the season. And the reason why we're going to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers is so that we can put a bow on it and continue to do what we're going to do. Just put it out there and keep it pushing. I've been disappointed, thoroughly disappointed, with the way that we've talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers in this offseason. I put a montage together. Because sometimes you just have to show people. You can't have conversations with people. You just have to show them what they sound like and what they're doing. The Cleveland Cavaliers were embarrassed. 4-1 against the Indiana Pacers, excuse me. And I keep hearing people say that the Cavs are better. Oh, the Cavs are better. They just had a bad shooting night. 4 of them. Oh, the Cavs are better. They just, they had injuries. Again. Oh, the Cavs have better players. The Cavs just, they ran into a bad matchup. Again. The reality of the situation is the Cleveland Cavaliers and to a same extent, the Guardians have the same thing going for them. In this town, and what we talk about in the place that we are at Cleveland, Ohio, wherever you're at, the Browns are the top ticket. People live, sleep, die, breathe football. That's what they do. They talk about football. Football was born in Northeast Ohio. I am from Canton, Ohio, the birthplace of football, the Football Hall of Fame. And I understand just how important football is in the state of Ohio. We rock and roll with the Browns like our life depends on it. I just got done talking about Shadeur Sanders. And everybody either has an opinion or is super excited about it. You know why? Because it's the Browns, it's football, and the quarterback. Not the same for the Cavs or the Guardians. And the reality of this situation is when you try to talk basketball in this city and you talk about basketball, there's this apathy that comes over people, right? There's this malaise of what they feel about the Cavs. And to be truthful, the Cavs don't have the same pressure points. The Guardians don't have the same pressure points. As a matter of fact, what we do, we use the Cavaliers as our crutch for when the Browns are terrible. Browns are bad. At least we got the Cavs to weather the storm during the winter. Browns is terrible. At least we got the Guardians. We can go down to Progressive Field and enjoy a nice ball game. You see, my thesis statement, if you think about it, is that the Cavs, as well as the Guardians, understand something. They utilize this as a business. This is a business at the top level. Why would I spend top dollar, do rash things that may or may not get you to a title, and still be second fiddle in the streets? Let me explain. If you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers, and most people will say the roster doesn't make sense. The roster does not fit. If they want, the roster looks great for regular season. Regular season basketball and playoff basketball from now on are 2 different sports, 2 different places, 2 different thought processes. You are built for the regular season where you can run around and pass the ball and people don't care about playing defense, and you can get these open shots and you could play a finesse style game. But as soon as you get past the first round in the playoffs, you're getting to rough riders. You're getting to people that are as skilled as you, but are more physical than you, are in more shape than you, are willing to impose their will on you, and you don't have that. So here's the situation. While you know that you should make a move, are you? Probably not. Because we love running it back. Because what we're telling you is we don't have that many expectation levels for you. It's like the middle son and the youngest son. The oldest son has all the responsibilities, all of them. You gonna take the trash out. You're gonna do the things. Your responsibility is, hey, when your parents are getting older and you got a family business, guess who's expected to take over the family business? When your parents get older and you got to make the decision of whether they need to go to hospice or not, you make that decision. When you need a family member to move in with you because that some catastrophic happened, you're the guy with the bigger house that people move into, right? The older kid always has it. You have a burden, you have a responsibility, or an awareness. That awareness and responsibility of all the media slander and hate go to the Cleveland Browns. The two younger brothers have none. If the Cavs win a championship, it's an added bonus. Cavs win 64 games. Hey, we had a great regular season, man. I got to go to the game and cheer in Loudville, and the fans are great. 64 wins, man. Great. Well, hey, we had a couple tough breaks in the playoffs, but why as a business would you introduce volatility? Adding new players could foil your plans. So why don't we just set back, stand still? And then we can say there was other things. It was the injuries. It took Michael Jordan 6-7 years. I mean, DG was hurt last year. He lost the weight this year. He couldn't run up and down the court. All this good stuff. Coach Kenny Atkinson. The problem is there's no expectation for them. So the fans will never put enough pressure on them as a Boston or New York or I wouldn't say Chicago, but Golden State. Teams like that, the teams that count, when you lose, it means something. When you lose, things happen, heads roll, and people make decisions. So the Guardians and the Cavs, they're selling other things besides totally winning. Because if you really want to totally win, you have to go out at a level that I don't think a lot of people are willing to do. For me, I just had to put it in a montage. We got a video coming up here that I'm going to play. I'll do what it takes. And I want you to listen to something. Listen to the difference between winners and losers. Watch the way fans are so flippant and when we lose. You've done it the same way 3 years in a row. I've heard people say, well, do you want to keep the core four together because Jason Tatum's injured now? Who makes decisions based on what other teams are doing? I thought the goal of this thing was to beat the teams at any cost. I don't care if Jason Tatum does not dictate what's happening on my roster. We need to get better. And I ask you a question out there. Why do you think that you're better than the Knicks? 4 games to 1. Why do you think you're better than the Celtics? 4 games to 1. Why do you believe you're better than the Pacers? 4 games to 1. And I tell you, it's not just physical, it's mental. And I don't believe you can make up for mental toughness. Let's take a look. This is courtesy of the Cleveland Cavaliers, also ESPN, and the links will be in the description.
But the truth of the matter is we didn't get to the level we wanted to get to. I think they presented a physical challenge that's probably the first off the bat. And to their credit, they kind of did it longer they could sustain longer than we could.
I think if you look at the series, we, kind of weren't ready for game 1.
What does it take to break you? I'm not saying it's our goal to try to break you. It's just the way it is in football. When you go through camp, it's going to be difficult because you're getting yourself ready to play an entire season at a high level. So everybody here has got to have a lot of mental toughness to be able to sustain what we do at a high level.
Now, that's not all physical, Chris. I think that part of that is mental, right? The mental strength to part of our growth. We obviously got to get physically better, or arrive physically better to compete with a team like this that plays at this high intense pace. And they're up here, guys. Like I know from the data, I know from watching film that they're up here.
The Miami series didn't really prepare us for that, and we kind of slept on that and didn't come out with the same force and aggression, and that wasn't good for us.
When you look back on this particular playoff, like, is it what about this one is most painful?
Having a great regular season that we had, and proving the doubters wrong in the regular season, and then not putting the effort in as we wanted to in the postseason. That's what hurts the most.
What you have to do is you have to have toughness. You got to be tougher than everybody that we play.
The mental part, that we got to get over that. I just felt like we got another jump to make with kind of our mental strength.
I've never stood up here in all the time that I've been here and ever really defined toughness for you. The way I'm going to define toughness to you, because I'm talking about mental toughness, and I think everybody can relate to it, is it's all about what does it take to break you.
We got areas we have to improve in, and we could not sustain, from a physical standpoint, and then from a mental standpoint. I think they were stronger.
I don't care what circumstance you're faced with. What does it take to break your focus because you get frustrated about what happened on the last play? What does it take to make you give in because it's hot outside, or you're tired, or you don't feel like running to the ball or giving effort or finishing the play like you should because of how you feel, whether you're a little bit hurt?
You got a lot of people paying their hard-earned money to come watch you perform. Perform. It's your job to be in shape. It's your job to be strong enough to perform at that level every single night. And as a competitor, I'm not ducking shit. Like, it's not, oh my God, my back hurts, I'm sore.
And this is part of it. And I've been saying this all year. We had to arrive here healthy. It's the big.
And Vince was tearing the league up. My back was jacked. But like the perception of that, like what? Kobe's missing the game against Toronto and Vince Carter because my back was really spasming. But people will be like, what? Oh, he's ducking Vince. Excuse me?
It's the big hurdle. They were healthy. I mean, completely healthy. I believe so. They're at 100% healthy.
No, I don't think so. So I would be in the layup line like, okay, there's a lot of days where you can rest and recover. Today ain't one of them. Your back can bother you any other day. That shit ain't bothering me today. Wow. He gonna have to see me today.
And when you're working on the margins, you got 3 guys out, 3 of your top 6 out. You got your point guard out for the first. It's like, you just wish you were whole, but.
Rajon Rondo is still best remembered for his time with the Boston Celtics, where he played his first 8+ seasons. Aside from helping them win the 2008 NBA title, he also provided them with a lot of memories that prove his toughness as a player. One of those moments happened in Game 3 of the 2011 Eastern Conference semifinals against the ascendant Miami Heat. With the Heat up 2-0 in this NBA playoff series, the Celtics needed a win to avoid falling down to a deeper hole.
Somehow we got to arrive here next year, injury-free. I mean, that's the goal. We worked hard. We worked hard to do that, and there's bad luck. There's misfortune.
In the third quarter, Rondo got tangled up with Heat guard Dwayne Wade and dislocated his left elbow, which would have kept him out for the rest of the game. But after briefly going to the locker room, Rondo returned to the court and re-entered the game in the fourth quarter to raucous cheers from the TD Garden crowd.
They weren't soft tissue, injuries, which is somewhat controllable, right? So it's little misfortune, little bad luck.
The point guard helped the Celtics secure a 97-81 victory over Miami to get back into the series. He rarely used his left arm for the rest of the game, but still found a way to help Boston and finished with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 11 assists.
And if you're the Cavs, also listen, disappointing way to finish, but a lot of positives, and they'll learn a lot from this experience. A lot to improve upon this upcoming offseason.
It is cliche. Laura, you said it too, but here we are saying there's always next year.
Good season, but tough loss, right? So maybe next year. We'll get them next year.
They get past Orlando in the first round. They go one step further in the playoffs, and with all the injuries, just incredible.
Yeah, they got to be pleased with their progress. I think J.B. Bickerstaff has got to be happy to see some of the growth from those young guys.
So what do you think for next year?
I'm excited. I mean, it's cliche to say, but they're young. We'll do good.
Yeah.
5 to shoot. Turner, he puts it down.
The Indiana Pacers are heading back to the conference final.
The Indiana Pacers, this resurgent, ascending franchise.
That's what win the game all the time. All the time, but I still love the land. I'll be back next year.
There you go.
And just because you got beat on the last play, that can't affect your next play. All right? Or that's breaking you. Your frustration is breaking you. Just because you miss a block, or you get blocked, or you miss a tackle, or you fumble the ball. What does it take to break you?
So they have this illusion that they have all these choices. But the fact of the matter is if you want to be good, you really don't have a lot of choices because it takes what it takes.
Again, courtesy of the Cleveland Cavaliers, NBA, Nick Saban. Links in the description. See, sometimes I just let other people tell it. If I call you soft, G. Bush don't talk about basketball. You don't know about basketball. You don't know about toughness. Didn't play. Well, just take it from Kobe Bryant. Y'all like him, don't y'all? Ain't no way in hell I'm not playing because I'm playing Vince Carter and I'm not looking like I'm ducking no smoke. I'm Kobe. This is a regular season game. Nick Saban, one of the greatest college football coaches, period, in the game. But it's hot outside. Mental toughness is what does it take to break you? Your focus. The fact that we talking about this stuff, and I got to put the montages together because when you're saying it, you got to see it. When somebody say, "Oh, it wasn't soft tissue," I mean, I could have went on. I could have went to. I could give you Kevin McHale breaking his foot in the '80s against the Lakers, playing with a broken foot. I could give you Isaiah Thomas with a dislocated finger, as well as a severely sprained ankle against the Lakers in the finals. I can give you Emmitt Smith running for over 170 yards with a dislocated shoulder, just to get a first round bye. I can go on and on and on. I just chose to give you Rajon Rondo because he's a point guard. He has to dribble the ball. He dislocates his elbow, meaning I'm going to dribble that basketball up and down the court with one hand. I can't shoot, but I can sure drop dimes with one hand, because my team was down 2-0. It's a lot of people that don't understand a lot of stuff because you're too young or you didn't pay attention back then. That's why you got to have receipts at all times. Why would you, I'm confused as to why would people be saying to me, G. Bush, it was just bad luck. Is that what we're talking about as far as analysis now? We're using luck? I know y'all couldn't have played nothing because you would have got kicked off the team or had to run for saying anything about luck. It's about your will and your skill and what are you willing to do to pay the price. And there are a couple of people for the Cleveland Cavaliers that are not willing to pay the price. One of them is Jared Allen. And the problem we have is because they're nice and we like them and I don't got no problems with them. These are really good men. But good men and Boy Scouts don't win championships. History does not look back on great, nice guys. They look at guys who won. That's the difference between citizenships, sportsmanship awards, and championship rings. Come on now. 12 points and 6 rebounds. You've been outplayed by everybody. And my thought process is this. Since when are we front runners? Since when, G. Bush, my other favorite excuse is, besides the injuries, Halliburton was injured, by the way. Lots of people came into these series injured. Ask the Celtics how they feel about being injured. Tatum goes out and they won a game, injured. We didn't make shots. Do you think making and missing shots is a form of luck? Like, I don't know where these new analytics guys come from, and they talk about, the analytics says that we just had a bad shooting night. The analytics was looking like, no. Your pressure makes people miss shots. Your aggressive nature on defense makes people miss shots. Your physicality makes people miss shots. And we sit up there and give this excuse. I can tell you never shot no basketball before. How dare you sit up here and talking about it's luck? We didn't shoot the ball well. No, somebody else was in front of you, locking you down, which made you not shoot well. And if you didn't hit the shots and you were 0 of 14, 1 of 15, that means you were mentally self-checked. All the excuses, I get it. Half the excuses come because you don't want to seem like you're killing all the Cleveland teams. The Browns are trash all the time. You be negative on them. You're like, I can't be negative about everybody now, can I? No, I just tell the truth. I just gave you what they said. Kobe got 5 rings. Saban got 10 championships or something. They preach mental toughness. They don't preach, we got to get here whole. What kind of noise is that? What kind of noise is the fact that you don't understand in the midst of battle, adversity is going to hit? What, you think you're going to be fresh? You think you're going to be just great the whole time? We just got to get here healthy. You got there healthy and got the brakes beat off of you. You played the least amount of minutes than anybody in the playoffs. You got the brakes beat off of you. You're physically feeble every year. Don't think so? You always got to show the receipts, G. Bush. They won't take your word for it. They don't take your word for it. Let's start back again. Let's go back in the time machine. You got to give them receipts, because if you don't, they just think you're just talking. You just talk too much. You don't know what you're talking about. Let's go back to the New York series where Jared Allen, quote unquote, said the bright lights was too bright. You have home court advantage in that series. You come out game 1 and lose. Sound familiar? No intensity, didn't get it done. You came back and fought back a little bit. You came back and fought back a little bit in one game. You tied it 1-1, and then you lost 3 straight, and they weren't close. You lost by 20 in game 3. You lost by 9 or 10 points in game 4. And you lost by, what is that, 11 points at home in game 5. Where are you talking about? Guess what, people? Lights were too bright. We'll be back. We'll be back. You don't get tough by just rolling over another calendar year. Again, let me ask you another question. Everybody in the world is talking about, shooting and doing whatever. There's 3 things that I thought were unacceptable in those press conferences. Max Drew said, number 1, I don't think we were ready to come out and play in game 1. How? How, Max? You're a veteran. You played for the Miami Heat. You've been to the finals. How are you not ready? 2, Kenny Atkinson. I thought they were just able, but physically they just were able to play longer and at that pace. And how? You're professional athletes. Kobe Bryant said it best. Hey, be ready to play. It's your job to be physically ready to play. And for you bench guys, you guys sat on the bench all year. You didn't even play that much. How are you tired? Why is Dean Wade tired? Why are you not able to handle the pressure in the press? Why? Ty Jerome looked like he couldn't even dribble. We couldn't bring the basketball up the court. That's a shame. You know why? Because you were gassed. My conditioning coordinators always tell us, fatigue will make cowards out of everyone. We'll be back, though. Stop acting like you just get skill points for rolling the calendar over. Jared Allen got bullied 3 years ago. How many more pounds does he put on in the weight room? How many? He didn't put no 25 pounds on in the weight room and say, not again. How many pounds does Darius Garland put on? Did he come back with 15 pounds bigger? No, he didn't. That was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, you got smoked. Now, guess what? You're telling me you're better than the Knicks? No, you're not. Let's keep it pushing. See if you guys learned anything. Let's go to Boston. Same thing. But this series, Boston was the champs. Boston, they just went, they took their lumps. They won the championship this year. Okay. This was also a game about toughness, mental toughness, physical, because Jared Allen didn't play in this series. We didn't see him since Orlando because they beat him up too. Let's see how this game went. Came out game one and got beat by 25. Sound familiar? Cavs fought back. Tied the series. Fought back 1-1. Then you get smoked the rest of the series. Donovan Mitchell don't play the rest of the series. You lose 4-1. Last game you lose by 15. Everybody told me, don't worry about it, G. Bush. Don't worry about it. I know Jarrett, he was injured. Darius wasn't right all year. We didn't have Donovan. Don't even worry about that. Listen, the Celtics were great. I know it looked bad, but let's go to this year. I know it looked bad, G, but just run it back. You get rid of Kenny. You get rid of what's the name? You get rid of JB. That's the only move you made. But this is 3 years in a row. I'm not even including the Hawks year. I'm not even including the Hawks loss in the playoff in the playoff tournament, the play-in round, the year before the Knicks. Let's keep it pushing. Let's get to this series. Same old excuses, bro. Same old tired excuses. Everybody want to think they so smart. I got advanced analytics that say we were the best team ever in the world ever to do it in the regular season, but when something happened in the shut up. Tired of this stuff. Game one, Max Drew said out of his mouth. We weren't ready to play game one. Miami didn't. How does Miami need to tee you up for something? How is it that you came off a sweep and you said it didn't prepare us for what we saw? They act like these dudes was out here like they was monsters and bears. Monsters and bears. They were moving at a pace we've never seen. Are you talking about the Predator versus Alien movie? Had all kind of projectiles. They were the greatest thing we've ever seen. You come out and get smoked in game one. You take a crap in the bed down your leg in game two and give that away. You showed up finally in game three, right? And then the pivotal game four, the game that's going to swing the series, the game that could get you back in, the game where nobody was listed on the report. Nobody was listed on the injury report. And you come out and get historically embarrassed in game four. Down by 40 at points in time. And then in game five, you come out sluggish. You come out with no energy, and you get closed out on your court. You lost 3 games? You're the number one. You lost 3 games at home. Bad shooting night, G. Bush. That's all it was. Bad shooting night. I see right here they moved the ball a little better. 29.4 assists, right? I see that. Not even a great rebounding team. Donovan Mitchell, let's take a look at this again. Donovan Mitchell had to average 35 for you to do anything. And the reason Donovan Mitchell has to average 35 is because there's a difference between the intensity and the way guys play defense and the rest of your guys get locked up. That's what happens. So, look, man. You say, where do you go from here, G. Bush? Let me take this out. Let me get this out of here. Matter of fact, and I want to just show you. I got to show you because I'm tired of this narrative that the Cavs, no, this happens, no. There's a lot of armchair, and this ain't for everybody. It's a lot of wheelchair, armchair quarterbacks at the crib sitting here telling you that the Cavs is so good and they so great and they done did this and they did that. All you got to do is let them sit and simmer for 5 more years and maybe one day it'll wake up and understand it is serious. No, y'all fantasy football players and these dudes watching these analytics and stats is wild. Because you try to tell me and gaslight me that it's all about shooting. If you make threes, you win. If you don't, you lose. No, it's 17 other things that go into those things. And a lot of them have to do with whether or not you can play defense, with whether or not you execute, whether or not you get 50-50 balls, whether or not you box out people at the foul line, whether or not that you can get into somebody physically, close out and contest quarters, close out shots. These are all things that you talk about, but we've reduced the game of basketball down to people talking about how many threes you can shoot and why we are so smart for letting the Cavs come back as intact because, Tatum's gone listen, I'm going to tell you what, I don't like their team better than Detroit's. I don't like their team better than Orlando. You better hope Paolo Banchero don't figure it out with his 6'10", 270 self posting up your small guards. Another thing, while I'm at it, as I always talk about it, you weren't interested in winning. I was the only dude in the city, the only one, it's not debatable, who said, what are you starting Max Strus at 3 for? What are you doing? You just traded to get a guy to make yourself bigger and more athletic. And you started a bench rotation 2 guard at small forward and then wonder why you're getting posted up and then wonder how is Miles Turner always on Garland or Strus? Why is Pascal Siakam guarded by Donovan Mitchell? And the best part about it is, the worst part about it is, besides the last game of the postseason, Max Strus played better than all the rest of them anyway. He showed up more than Garland, and he showed up more than Jared Allen. Jared Allen got 12 points and 6 rebounds in the last final 2 games. And then your head coach comes out and say, we just physically were tired after you were the team that played your starters the least amount of minutes during the regular season. You know why maybe the New York is kind of tough? Because Tibbs runs those guys into the ground. Maybe they're battle tested. Maybe they are what we heard Coach Saban say. It's going to be hard, guys. It's going to be physical because we need to be able to sustain that level of intensity when we play good teams. So be it. But our team, the softest, most passive, flower-picking lily guys, we get the most rest off. We don't play our guys over a certain amount of minutes, and you see what happened. By the way, if you just want to say, oh, these guys, the Cavs, they're better than the Pacers. You're not better than somebody when somebody gentleman sweeps you. You won 4. You know how disrespectful that is? You won 4. They won 4 games against you. They won 4. The Pacers won 4. Boston won 4 games. And just so we understand and we clear, so we can get to these what's the names, so we can get to these comments. Look at this lineup. Look at this lineup. The Knicks lineup when they beat you: Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, and Jalen Brunson. They gave you this gentleman's sweep. They did this to you. This wasn't the Celtics. This wasn't even the Pacers. So my question to everybody that's sitting up in here as we put the flowers on the grave of this season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was a disappointment, which proved that we are looking around as frauds. And for all the apologists, that the guys that want to just keep going to Cavs games, I ain't got a problem for you. I ain't got a problem with you. I get it. I understand why fans do what they do because they don't have no expectation for the Cavs, period. They don't have them for the Guardians. We know the Guardians ain't going to pay for nobody. You're going to get to the playoffs. You win the AL Central. You play the Yankees. They hit 3-run home runs. You don't get any points. It happens all the time. And you're fine with that because you know what you can also say? Well, at least we're not the Browns. At least we give you championships division champion. Hey, at least we get to the playoffs. And that's good enough for people. It's good enough for certain people. It just is. So the Cavs, you'll be mad after the season. You'll be mad during the time period. But the Cavs, and Donovan Mitchell says, you guys are going to write us off. Yes, we are. Yes, indeed. You got to earn it. Same way we tell Shedeur, you got to earn it. Cavs, you got to earn it. You got to earn people's attention for the regular season because you can win 82 games. And unless Jared Allen comes back and Evan Mobley comes back like they didn't hit the weights, there's a thing called weights, people. Stop running around being 6'10", 205 using rubber bands. Get you some bench press in, get your little ankles stronger, your little wrists. There's a thing called the weight room. Welcome yourself to it. Because the only dog you got is Donovan Mitchell. All the rest of you, when it comes to the playoffs, you're pups. In the great words of Nick Saban, mental toughness is, what does it take to break you? And for the Cavs, it's not that much. Let's get to it. D-time. He says, no racism cries. Because the only position, let me take this down. I need to take this banner down a little bit. There we go. Okay, he said, no racism cries. Because the only position that blacks are not dominating in the NFL are ownership and coaching. Don't you love this game? Hey, man. I think you're referring to the Shadeur Sanders thing. I mean, that's wild. Come on, people should be saying stuff, man. I only like him because he's... We appreciate you, though. James Crosby. Salute to you for the super chat. I appreciate you, my brother. We're putting on. Thank you so much. Your donations help this thing keep running. We go straight to the consumer. We cut out the middleman. We straight to consumer, straight to the street. Let me see. Let me get to some of these Cavs comments. I know y'all was cooking. Where these Cavs comments at? Keep them Cavs comments coming. You think I'm crazy? Let me see. I got to get these Cavs comments going. Go up here and figure out where I'm at. Here we go. Let's go. Let's start right here. Let me see. We almost there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Pacers beat the Knicks in 6. Cavs ran into a star in Halliburton. Cavs fans should be happy to win a road win around. Not sure who they think they are. See this? I kind of remember. I actually kind of agree with you. To me, like the Cavs won a little first round situation, and at the end of the day, I don't know why people keep saying that they're better than the Pacers. I mean, that triggered me because I'm a competitor. Like, no, you can't say you better than somebody. They just beat you 4-1 and blew you out by 50 in the deciding game, almost like the pivotal game. It's wild to me. Sammy G, thank you so much. We appreciate you. If you've never played basketball on a real level, you can't call an NBA player soft. Brody's bottom line. Who you say I can't play? I can't call. I started on my high school team. What are you talking about? You want me to play in college too? I don't know. You talk about me? Hey, get my yearbook pictures. Yeah. Get my What you talking about? I trade Garland for Brown for a heartbeat. Also, I've been hearing that they were gassed out, not buying that by any means. They just soft point blank. When the coach come out and talk about how gassed you are, how does that really? That's wild to me. We couldn't sustain the physical level. They were just more physical. They played at a higher level than we are. They played at a pace that I was like, this is wild. I'll give Kenny credit because he's honest. Usually coaches would say, I got to watch the tape and give you nothing. Cavs got to realize that they need a better offensive game plan in the playoffs. Can't be thinking you're going to be openers in the regular seasons. Dudes ain't even playing defense in the regular season. Kenny said that, in that little that snippet that we talked about, they talked about the same thing. It's the fact that elite, he said, word for almost, here's a synopsis of it, brief. He said, basically, teams are playing us differently in the playoffs. Elite teams are playing us where there's those guys at the point of attack are good enough to keep guys in front of them and eliminating our drive and kick. Those guys are staying home. You can't, and when you look at the Cavs and you look at the roster, Ty Jerome looked like he didn't even belong in that series. Athletically, he couldn't bring the ball up court. He couldn't keep guys off of him. He couldn't keep guys off the glass. He couldn't keep it. Defensively and just athletically, he looked completely out of the game. Sam Merrill can't dribble the rock. They had him scrambling, trying to figure out how he could get open. They was in his back pocket. When you got two guys that can't do that athletically, and then you throw in Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro who can't hit the broadside of a barn during a playoff game, all the bench stuff that you was talking about, all the other extras, no. They was looking at you like you guys are undermanned and undersized. And then taking in for the fact that Mobley, Hunter, and Garland missed game 3 or game 2. That was out of here. Garland had missed weeks before that. And then you got the 10-man himself, Jared Allen. Come on, man. Come on. How you figure you winning these games, man? I don't get it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. Let's see. There we go. Cleveland should forever be great for LeBron James. Gave me the only ship in my lifetime. It's hard to win a ship. Bring home his final run epic. I'll take LeBron. People be running around here talking, we want to do it without LeBron, boy. Says who? Y'all ain't got that in y'all's playbook. You can't get back to hash. Listen, think about this. This is the second round. This isn't the Eastern Conference Finals or the finals. This is the second round. Cavs bullied and ran home to mama instead of swinging back. They did. Injuries did matter. 3 years in a row? If you're injured 3 years in a row, you got to understand what is your strength and conditioning program talking about? What is your weight program talking about? And why do I keep seeing other players playing injured? Sometimes you got to go at it. Sometimes you got to go at it. I've been saying it. 2 inefficient guards will not win in the playoffs. Backcourts win championships. And the thing that B33Z, let me just throw this out to you too. Darius Garland said that they were in the Miami Heat series that Tyler Hero was a liability defensively because he don't cover nobody, which he was correct. But I might add that Darius Garland is a worse defender than Tyler Hero. Bro, and he's fragile, and he's hurt. And they seek him out on pick and rolls every play. Think about this. If you're starting Max Strus, 6'3", 6'4", 6'2", 6'2", your small forward, your point guard, and your shooting guard are all in the mix. Cade Cunningham, 6'7". Tatum and Brown, 6'7", 6'8". Ben Carroll, 6'10". Wagner is above 6'8". Who's really trotting? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, 6'6". Who's trotting out 6'2" guards today? You're getting dominated on a pick and roll. If they catch you on a switch, you're dead. Like, and it's all about shooting, G. No, it's not. It's not. And even if they're healthy, it was healthy against the Knicks. All the way healthy. Smacked. Boy. Garland, 11 points on 16 shots and 4 turnovers. Oh, boy. This is wild. This is wild work, man. Wild work. What up, Big J-Bone? I see you. I see you. Let me see. Kenny got coached by the Rick Carlisle. Of course he did. Rick Carlisle came out there and was like, listen, and he preached the physicality. Rick Carlisle, that 2-3 zone or 3-2 zone they was in, they got them, they found something. They thought they found something in game 3 with that. Game 4, they came out there and exposed it at the highest level. No need to say it. No need to say it. I think Allen's personality is that of a peaceful guy, and it translates too much on the court. I mean, that was evident a couple years ago. And I think the reason why people are very reluctant to say anything is because I do think Jared Allen is a really good person. These guys are so good people. They'd be like, yo, I wouldn't mind if you dated my sister. All these dudes. Isaac Okoro, great person. Dean Wade, stupendous person. Sam Merrill. Come on now, Donovan Mitchell is even very articulate, well-read, spoken, all the above. But when he gets on the court, he turns into a dog. That ain't gonna win a game. And look, I get it. We like to think that, you know, those records in the regular season translates into something. I mean, the Cavs are in an uphill battle because their task is going to have to find people that even if they win 82 games next year, they could go 35-0 to start the season. They're not going to get the respect. They're just not. And at least they were men about it and said it and say, you know what? You're right. It don't matter what we do. How we going to move? It's going to be like that. Altman gave DG a max player because he drafted him. Never trades his draft picks, puts himself first, and never admits he was wrong. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to throw it out there to you guys. Put it in the comment section. What can the Cavs win a championship next year if they keep the core 4? Put either yes or no. I'm going to leave it up to y'all. 2,363 people in here. Hit the like button for your boy. I want to know, with the argument that I just laid down to you guys, do you believe the Cleveland Cavaliers can win a championship next year if they keep the entire roster? I'll take note. I don't think it's possible. I don't think that you can teach people how to be tough. I don't think you can create a fighter out of a pacifist overnight. And I think who you are is what you are after a certain age. Science shows that between the age of 11 and 13, your mentality is cemented. Who you are pretty much is who you are. Unless you have some catastrophic things happening later in your life that categorically change your life. But to me, the proof is in the pudding. They not only are getting beat in the second round, they're not even competitive in the second round. They're getting gentlemen swept 3 years in a row. So where is all this miraculous stuff coming from? Some years they've been injured, some years they haven't. Some years they shot the ball, some years they didn't. Some years they got bullied, some years they got outran. You can't, listen, it can't be a bad matchup if it's the Knicks, they bullied you. If it's the Celtics, they barraged you with threes and you couldn't cover it. And then it's the Pacers, they ran you off the floor because they had the pace and was moving up and down the court. You can't be bad against all three. Like, you can't have, and you got beat up against Orlando. You had to have a game 7 for that. Let's get to it. Yes or no? I need to see it. Let me see. Before we get to that, we got to hold them under a microscope all year and realize what we see in the regular season don't matter. People looked at me crazy when I said that earlier in the season, but he ain't that good. He has a lot of potential, but he ain't got the Mamba mentality to be what the media says he can be. I'm guessing you're talking about Evan Mobley. Celtics went after DG on defense. DG was better this year, but he still needs to bulk up and toughen up. I need 15 from Darius Garland. I need 20 from 20. Jared Allen, I need 20 pounds of muscle. You got the money, the time, and the injury. Let's get it done. Randy, most guards have a 6'6" guard or taller. You got 6'2". You got and your small forwards are above 6'8". Can you get it done? Big J Bone says no. G Bush, you sound like an owl. Who? Well, you keep saying all the time. Let's see. Maybe Ben Carroll was right about Ty Jerome. Hey, what's up, man? I see you out here. I see you. Let's see. Here we go. Do you win next year? We'll talk about this one. When you're running 3 small guards out and they're the shortest people in the court, you're going to run into problems. Randy says no way they win a championship next year. Soul Train says no. Mr. King 562 says no. Chase says no. 100% no. TGI Diesel, no. Back out real quick, no. Another no. Big no. Not even enough. Oh, nope. Bob Walsh says yes. Okay. We got 1 yes. See if we can get 2. There's another no. Nope. Let me see. It's another no. G. Bush, would you trust drafting, G. Bush, would you trust Barry more drafting receiver or Corby? Hey, this is a funny question. I take, I'm gonna be honest, I take Kobe. I have no trust in AB drafting no receiver, bro. At least Kobe got the fact that Donovan plays big, right? He plays big. And he did trade for Hunter, but they just didn't start him. So at least he got something. Hey, the Browns is getting Deontay Johnson's, man. Garrett, G, thanks for always keeping it real. Hey, man, I just got to keep it real, man. I want to thank you guys. Want to thank you guys for pulling up on me today. We had a good show. Always let people know. Barbershop every Saturday, 9 to 11. We've been doing some great things over here. We want to salute you. We've had more people over here doing our thing than we even thought we would have in terms of, just honestly, like doing the radio thing. There's a lot of people that was like, listen, I don't know if that's a smart decision. You do a radio show, you got a lot of people listening to you. You stepped away from doing that to do your own thing. How smart was that? And I say, it's been a great decision because the people supported me. The people from the radio station who listen on the radio support. There's people in UCSS that support. There's people all from all around. So we want to thank all of you, all the various groups. Shout out to the 330, the 216, to see you aunties in the building, to see you grandmothers in the building, the Browns fans, the Cavs fans, the Barbershop fans, UCSS fans, the Bleacher Report fans. We all over here about to make this thing great. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And with that being said, you never know where I'm going to show up. But if you want the truth, you want that cut, you want somebody telling the truth and letting you know what it is, the Barbershop is here. And I keep the Clippers with me. You have a great start to your weekend. And as always, go Brown, go Guardians. And even though I just killed y'all, go Cavs. Peace.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.